Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video on Gran Turismo 7. We're back with the latest time trial to try and help you get them credits, them 2 million credits, as quickly and as easily as possible. Now remember, if you do enjoy these guides, simply hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, let me know in the comment section if we've managed to help you out. It all helps the channel out, and feel free to share these videos with anyone on websites to try and help them get the credits as quickly as possible as well. But yeah, let's get into this and show you what we're up against. So obviously we're at Red Bull Ring, we're in the Lancia Evo, and it's actually an alright little car to drive around this track. So to enter this time trial, you're simply going to go into sport mode in the top right hand corner, click on that. From there you'll be greeted with the online time trial section there on the right hand side. You're going to click on that. We have two separate time trials available. We already have the guide for Grand Valley, so feel free to check that out, and we're going to go into the Red Bull Ring guide here. Now you can see currently P3 in the world, that will go down drastically, but top time is a 44.9, meaning I predict this gold to probably get to around 47.5 that you'll need to get that gold. It's going to be somewhere around there. It might not quite hit that, it might go past it. It's very hard to predict. But yeah, if you want to load my ghost up after watching this guide, simply go into the leaderboards when you're in the time trial and load my ghost up from there, and you'll be able to chase my ghost. So let's get on with this and try and help you get these credits as quickly as possible. So obviously when you're starting your lap, try to make sure you give yourself a reasonable exit off this final corner. Now I actually didn't do that too well. I had a bit of a drift going in, had to get off the throttle a little bit there. So actually it was a little bit slow over the line by about 2 miles per hour. So yeah, a little bit off here, but it didn't matter. We just carried it on anyway. And we're going to be looking for the 100 board. Before the 100 board, in between the 150 and the 100 board is when you're going to get onto the brakes here. So pretty much right in the middle of that 150 and the 100 board. Now you're going to rotate it in very early here because you can get right over the curb. Remember, this is a road car, so you can actually attack these curbs quite aggressively. So down to third gear, then back up to fourth gear before you get into this corner. You can see the throttle is back on before we're even getting near the curb, and we're going to accelerate over that curb aggressively. Now just be very cautious on the exit. I have no idea how the ghost in front of me got away with that on the track limits, because when I do that it gives me an invalidated lap. But try and keep your right hand tyre as close to the white line as possible, because then you don't run the risk of picking up a track limit penalty on that corner. Going into turn 3, technically turn 3, we're going to brake just before this 100 board. You can see again in between the 150 and the 100 board, pretty much dead in the middle, and we're going to brake in a straight line down to second gear, and we're going to wait before we turn in. So we're going to start trail braking, and then you can see we're going to try and get a really strong exit from this corner, and we're actually going to go back up to third gear. So you can see up to third gear nice and early, and then onto the power before we even get into the apex of the corner. But that is going to give you then the momentum out of this corner and push all the way into the next corner, turn 4. So first sector 26.4 was actually nearly a tenth slower than what I had done there, so a little bit slower in the first sector. However, that turn 3 I actually hooked up quite nicely, and now we're going to be going into turn 4 again, braking just past the 150 board but before the 100 board. Again, you can see there onto the brakes, and we're going to brake in a straight line down to second gear, but again we're going to go back up to third gear as we start rotating it into this corner. So you're going to see now down to second gear and then back up to third gear for the acceleration, just for a bit of rotation there, use second. And now we're going to get aggressive on the throttle. You want to try and get this throttle input so that when you get on it, you don't want to lift off on the exit now. So you can see flat down, no lifting on the exit, and you're carrying the speed using a bit of the green Astro on the left there. Now into the next corner, which is a tricky one. This corner you've got to be careful the car doesn't slide too much. Again, braking quite early here, a lot before the 50 board. Normally you'd be braking right on that. We're braking really early down to fourth gear, and you're going to try and settle the car here with just smooth inputs, because if you're too aggressive it starts sliding. You can actually see the car does start sliding a little bit now, and we just about managed to keep it close to the curb, but we do lose a little bit. You can see how the ghost in front of me is going to pull away here, so I think I lose about a tenth or so on this corner because it just didn't quite get the line through there. So maybe a little bit of lost time, but not too bad. And now we're going to brake just before the green Astro ends on this, where the sprint layout joins, braking just before there. And again, be very careful on the braking here, because you can see the car wants to slide, but a little bit of sliding won't harm you too much as long as you get on the throttle early. You can see that throttle input going in nice and early to try and counter that oversteer that we get. And now left hand tyre up onto the curb, and we've actually managed to do pretty nice corner there and actually not lost too much to the ghost. Managed to recover that quite nicely. And now we're going to be pushing into the next braking zone. We're going to be using the 100 board on the left hand side. So as we approach it here, you're going to see the 100 board appear on the left there. We're actually going to brake pretty much dead level, maybe a fraction past that 100 board. So as we play it through here, now you can see onto the brakes, pretty much online with that 100 board. And we're going to try and attack this first part of the corner. So you can see, stay in 4th gear, and you're going to see as you brake and trail brake into this corner, the car's going to slide ever so slightly, and you're going to try and get your right hand tire up onto the curb quite aggressively. You can see up onto the curb, using a bit of the grass actually there, and then aggressively on the throttle to counter that and keep the power going through the corner. And then again here, it's really important to try and get on the brakes quite early here. Don't be too late on the brakes, because earlier it tends to be better because it gives you the ability to get on the throttle better. So you can see we can then attack the curb, a little lift off the throttle there. I got a little bit hesitant, but managed to keep it down quite aggressively all the way through the final corner and over the line for a 1 minute 45.2 288, which isn't too bad. Pretty happy with that lap. We can definitely go, I think we could possibly creep another 2 tenths off that, maybe squeeze into the 44s if I was to really push this. But yeah, enjoyable one, quite an enjoyable car to drive. I'm pretty sure we could do a 44 if we were to really try hard this. But yeah, P1 again is going to probably go really aggressive with this car around here, so that's why I think you're going to be looking for them half second over what it currently is in terms of getting the goal. But watch the lap again from the chase camera. You can see the first sector not perfect, but this corner is where we really hooked it up, using 3rd gear nice and early and onto that throttle really aggressively. You can see again, using the curb like we did with the Mazda in the Group 4 race. Really important to use that little bit of curb there for better acceleration out the corner. And then again, into this next braking reference zone, you can see braking in between that 150 and the 100 board, pretty much in the middle. And again, down to 2nd gear, then back up to 3rd gear for that acceleration as the car pushes its way wide here. You can see, just make sure you don't run too far wide on that corner into the gravel, but I had a fair amount of space there to actually push it even further if I needed to. But this corner again, you can see the car starts to slide a little bit there, and that's where you've got to be very, very early on the throttle to try and counter it and keep that momentum. And then again for this corner, you can see how you can actually use a little bit of the slide to get yourself into the apex, as long as you get on the throttle aggressively and you don't lose too much if you get it right. If it goes wrong, you will lose quite drastically doing that, because the car will slide out and then you'll understeer and then you'll lose 2-3 tenths just instantly. So just be careful on that corner. Again here on the 100 board, using the grass and the curb, and then onto that throttle aggressively to carry the speed, and then brake early for this corner. Like I say in the guide, but just then always important to brake early and then over the line for a pretty solid lap. Hopefully this will help you out. Let me know in the comment section if it does. Don't forget to give it a like. It all helps me out with the algorithm, and I'll be back with another one of these next week. We do these every single week, so hopefully we can help you out next week as well. Thanks again for watching, everyone.